There is a specific kind of pain that doesn't scream, it just sits right here. I want to tell you about the months before this road, the smiles, the coffee, the notebook, all of it, because you need to understand how I got here. Sitting on an empty road at night before you understand what I realized sitting here. The morning after the coffee stall, I told myself I was fine. I was not fine. I was the opposite of fine and I was performing fine so aggressively that Kabir noticed within 30 seconds. What happened? Nothing. You look like something happened. I look normal. You are holding your pen upside down. 1 second. That's all it was. And I spent the next 4 hours replaying it. Then I just started looking at my pen upside down and I put it right way up. I didn't say anything. Sarah enters. My eyes going there before I decide to let them. Our eyes meet. 1 second, she looks away. I didn't wrote anything. Just started smiling at a blank page. Then Kabir says, "You are smiling at a blank page." "No, I'm thinking about concepts." Then Kabir started looking at me. Then at Sarah across the room. Then back at me. He nods slowly, says nothing, looks away. The exact right thing to do. Kabir didn't ask again. Some people know when to stop. He was one of them. I loved him for that. There was days when I and Sarah were finding reasons to be near each other. After class, before rehearsal, the small manufactured coincidences of someone who wants more time with a person. Those weeks, I want to be honest about them. They were good, actually good. Not the kind of good where you are waiting for something better. The kind where you think, this right here is it. Sarah is laughing at something I just said. Genuine, unguarded. The laugh she won't give to anyone. She laughed differently with me. I noticed. I tried not to make it mean more than it meant. We talked about everything. The teacher, rehearsal, bad films, good food. She had opinions about everything and delivered them like facts. I disagreed with her constantly just to hear her argue back. I was so gone. I knew I was gone. I kept going anyway. Like walking towards something you can see is going to hurt, but the walking feels too good to stop. Teacher enters. Teacher says, art is not a transaction. The moment you price it, you have compromised it. Real artists suffer. That suffering is the work. I had heard this speech 30 times. I used to feel something when he said it. That day, I looked around the room, everyone nodding, everyone believing. And I thought, when did I stop nodding? I hadn't slept properly in 2 days, hadn't eaten a full meal. I had performed the night before, broken down the stage after, cleaned it, gone home at 2 am, been back at 7 am. For what? The craft, the preparation, the future that kept being described but never arrived. And I thought, you cannot make art from a body that has nothing left. You cannot create from empty. He says money corrupts art, but I was starting to think, what corrupts art faster than money? Watching someone getting rich off telling you money doesn't matter. I didn't say any of this out loud. Not yet. I filed it away. In the place where I kept all the things I wasn't ready to look at directly. I didn't say any of this out loud. Not yet. I filed it away. In the place where I kept all the things I wasn't ready to look at directly. I don't know what made me to do it that evening. Maybe it was the exhaustion. Maybe it was the fact that those weeks with her had started to feel like the only real thing in my life. Maybe I just couldn't carry it quietly anymore. I keep thinking about the coffee stall.
Roman?
I know what you said. But I keep thinking, you smiled at your notebook.
What?
This morning, you smiled at your notebook. I saw it.
You can't do that.
Do what?
Turn everything into evidence.
Then tell me what it was.
It was nothing, Roman. It was a smile. People smile.
Not like that.
You are going to ruin this.
I'm trying to build something.
You are trying to force something. There is a difference.
What do we have, Sarah? Honestly, what is it?
Something I don't want to lose. So please stop pushing it.
Something I don't want to lose. I played that back 100 times that night, looking for the version where it meant what I needed it to mean. One day of not talking to her, and I was checking my phone every 10 minutes, putting it face down, checking it, putting it face down. I had a problem. I knew I had a problem. The problem felt too good to fix.
Hi.
Hi, and then I did it again.
Don't.
Sarah,
Roman, no. My answer is no. It's not going to change today.
how do you know if you want?
Because I know, okay? I know.
Something in her voice that wasn't there before. Not anger, finality. Sarah just picks her bag, leaves. Not dramatically, just leaves. The way someone leaves when they are tired of the same conversation. And I was alone. The empty rehearsal hall. Students filing out around me. I was standing still. She left. And this time, I didn't feel the usual thing. The usual thing was frustration. The usual thing was, I'll try different next time. I just started my bike and put my helmet on. This time, I just felt tired. And under the tired, something else. Something I don't want to look at directly. I was just riding in quieter streets, then emptier. Then a road with nothing on the either side. Just dark and lamplight and road. I just pulled over. Stopped the engine. I was just sitting on the bike. Didn't get off yet. I pulled over on a road I didn't recognize. I don't know how I got there. I had just been riding. I get off the bike, take off my helmet. I just sit on the ground beside it, back against the wheel of my bike. And it hit me, the real thing. Not she said no, not she rejected me, the real thing. She will never be mine. She will never be mine. Not yet. Not if I try harder. She will never be mine. That's the sentence. That's the one that pulled me over on an empty road at night. I started crying on an empty road. I just started crying, looking on an empty road. Tears were falling. I just started looking at road ahead of me like it might give an answer. She will never hold my hand walking down a street and mean it the way I would mean it. She will never look at me and think, him. It's him. She will never be mine. I sat there for a long time. Long enough that the cold stopped bothering me. Long enough to cry properly. Long enough to get to the other side of it. And on the other side, there was something I didn't expect. Something quiet. She is still Sarah. She is still the person who laughs at her notebook. Still the person who argues about everything like it's a court case. Still the person I want to talk to more than anyone else I know. She can't be mine. But she can be here. And here is something. Here's not nothing. I'm not going to ask again.
Roman?
I mean it. I'm done.
Okay.
I just need you to know I don't want to lose you. Whatever you can give, I'll take it. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
You're not losing me.
Sarah just looks at me. A long moment. Something moves across her face. Relief. And underneath the relief, something she flies away quietly. Something she will take out later when she's alone and look at properly.
You're not losing me.
Okay. They sit side by side. The rehearsal hall around them. Nothing resolved. Everything somehow settled. We went back to normal. The conversations, the walks, the notebook smiles, all of it exactly as before. I just started walking home that evening. Lighter step. Not happy, just lighter. Like something I was carrying has been set down. Except I knew something now that I didn't know before. I knew what it cost. I knew exactly what I was choosing to carry. And I was choosing it anyway. That night I cried on an empty road. I thought it was the worst night of that whole year. It wasn't. It was the most honest one. He stopped asking. She started noticing.